Let's get into it. Ooh, get into it. Everybody says that. Let's not get into it. Let's get out of it. That might be too loud. A little bit more like that. We'll see. All right. Figure out if we can do this today. We'll start off small. Some boring stuff. Not everything needs to be crazy. Random dot. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Hey, thanks for joining. Good work on that art piece. You'll have to explain to me who that character Brielle is. You don't have to, but I tried looking it up. I wasn't really sure. Also, let me know if the music is too loud. Oh, it's a VTuber. Okay, that's cool. Audio levels are good. Okay, cool. Does that person do art streams? Should I be following them? There is some lag on my drawing program. Maybe it'll go away. Oh, you know what I gotta do? Is I gotta turn off my Google stuff. Turn off all my syncing. That tends to interrupt things. Okay. We'll see how it goes. I have no idea if I'll be able to stream for very long. There's sort of rumors of a job that will come in today, but I'm okay if it doesn't, actually. The past week has been busy. Stability as a freelancer is not really something to be expected. My sweet spot is probably 3.5 to 4 days a week. That would be reasonable. Expecting to work every day as a freelancer is not really realistic. But if if I don't work at least a few days a week, things get really hairy for me financially. They tend to even out over time, but it's not a, oh, hi, Sextra. Suffering from success. It's something it would be nice if it was just sort of like, and in fact, it's like, it's weird because I don't handle the downtime well. It makes me freak out.
Welcome to Rivenwood.
But in good times, there's limits to the amount of work I can take, and so if I'm anywhere close to, I don't know, these are fun and interesting like business ideas, but they're anyway. Ultimately, last week I had to work during the day, and then for another client I had to work during the night, like another 4 hours. So put in 12 hours one day last week, and that's good because there was a lot of downtime earlier this year that I need to make up for. So I needed that extra time in, but man, it's a drain, and it certainly isn't good for progressing with anything on my personal projects or the stream, and so those things suffered. But bills will be paid, so look on the bright side for now. And I did 3 days this week, 3.5 days this week, and that's not bad. I had another moonlighting session. That's what we call it when you are working for another client at night, other than the one you work for during the day. And I was able to, so I did some of that last week, I did some of that this week, and it's just very draining. So I'm super tired, but this is an easy thing to do while I'm tired, is this filling in stuff. That's not too challenging. Goddammit Brain says her streamer persona is a nun at the Church of Bread. And I make a joke about her worshipping bread as worshipping money, because bread can be slang for money, so I re-mentioned her as a mob boss who was a servant of the bread. Since that joke landed, I gave it more effort than it deserved as that piece. I mean, I do hope it's a good client, reasonable deadlines. The clients are reasonable, and they're being appreciative. And they are clients that I've known a long time. I wish the jobs I wish I could say these were for like, this is for such a good company that does some amazing things for, something. I don't know. Are there any good companies? That's like a silly thing these days. But anyway, it's not like I had to work on anything that I have to compromise my morals for, but it's just kind of like the same thing that I've been dealing with, where, I do a good job, and then they say, great job, and they show it to client, and the client is like, this isn't what we wanted. Or, they change their mind about what they want or whatever, and then so my work gets thrown away, and then we start over. And because now that I'm worried they're going to throw it away, I'm not going to put as much time into making it look pretty. And the director's like, okay, client wants all these changes, so I make the changes, and I give it back, and they're like, nope, we still don't like it. So anyway, nobody knows what they want, nobody knows what to do, and I end up throwing away all the work I do. And then in the end, it is just to meet the deadline. They need me to draw so fast that I'm basically just scribbling. And they're like, great. And that ends up getting approved. And I'm just so all the incentives are screwy for me. Where I'm like, if I want to have pride in what I do, I don't know if I can do what I do anymore. Because it's just changing. It changed in a way that I don't know what. Maybe it's silly to have pride in what I do when I work in advertising, but this is I at least prided myself on being able to draw well under tight deadlines. But now everything is just absurd. Like they'll be like, we need 20 drawings in an hour. You know, you just get scribbles at that point. Do I get paid for the discarded pieces? Yes, I get paid by the hour, actually, which sounds like, whoa, why would you do that? But I get paid well by the hour, so it's not a thing. So if, you know, they can use me as much as they want, and I'm fine with it, but it isn't a, I don't know if I would prefer it if, it's sort of funny because things are inefficient, where like a lot of ideas have to be iterated for people to figure out what they want. Because it's an inefficient process on the client side, the work ends up taking much longer than it would otherwise need to. And then I actually get to bill for more hours. So it's not like I don't have an upside to the whole situation. Brain says, no, if I could charge by the hour, I definitely would, but I currently have to go per piece basis. I think that's common with commissions, for sure. That would be, I think, the most common thing. But ultimately, you kind of need to, even if you're charging per piece, it ultimately boils down to how long are you spending on it? Because otherwise you have the, what is it, you're paying, otherwise you might be paying more out in opportunity cost than you realize. There's all sorts of different factors that go into pricing. A lot of people, I think are, I differ with a lot of my colleagues on pricing. Not me personally, like, you know, a lot of my pricing is just set by my agent, and my agent prices according to what the market will bear. So, sometimes when it's really bad out there and clients just have no money, budgets are really tight, you know, we can go down in price too. But then she earns less commission, my agent, so she doesn't want to do that. She wants to make sure I'm getting everything I'm worth, and I'm glad for that, because I don't do a good job of asking what I'm worth or assessing what I'm worth. Okay, so we're just filling in some stuff here. And today let's see here. I said it earlier, but there's a chance I get booked today on an entirely different job. So this is sort of the window to attempt to get some work on, get some side project work at least. Oh yeah. Well, best of luck. I do hope you get the job. If I get this gig, and I have no idea what it is, I never know until I actually get it. I hope $1 billion falls on your doorstep. 1 billion. That would be nice. I can honestly say that if money was no object, I'd probably keep doing the streaming stuff and say sayonara to the storyboarding stuff. I feel like I'm not learning enough from it anymore. The incentives there are pushing me in the wrong direction, where I'm forced to make compromises on my aesthetic, on everything, for the sake of money. I'm doing that, and I don't want to do that anymore. Here I get to exalt my my abilities and discover new ones. This is what interests me now. Learning all sorts of new stuff. And if it's a quiet day, I'll do a lot of streaming. Today's the day that I pick up my kids, and then we go over to my parents' house, and I have my setup there, and I can stream there too. Yeah, $1 million just isn't enough these days. If you invest it correctly, it absolutely is, or if you move to a place with a weaker currency. Definitely there are, well, it's interesting. That is a factor in local, you know, it's not, I'm not too touchy about it to describe it. My clients do this, essentially. They, whereas normally they would try, I guess maybe 10 years or so ago, they would house, you know, a big artist pit full of 3D artists. And this would be in Santa Monica, a very expensive city, very expensive building, very expensive equipment, very expensive everything. And they would design everything in-house. Design, animate, do it all the hard way, and it would be all under one roof. And then other entities, you know, saw opportunities as humans do. There was an opportunity for people in other states, and then, you know, very quickly other countries, obviously Canada, and then like France and everywhere in Europe now, and then obviously in like India and you know, in is it Bangalore? There's a lot of studios everywhere that, oh, even Budapest and places like that. They do amazing work. They do it quick too. So it's like art and like artistic ability and talent. It's one of those things that it doesn't select for like a culture or a people, you know. Anybody can basically pick this stuff up, and if you stick with it, you can figure it out. And then it turns out it's just data, and data you can ship anywhere. It's not like a local thing like fresh eggs or you know, construction labor. Take $1 million, go to Mexico. Not a bad idea. I'm actually going to Mexico, and I should be smart and not say when I'm going on vacations and stuff like that. Like, that makes sense, right? But I'll let you guys know when I'm back, and it's not going to be anytime soon, but it'll happen later this year, and that'll be a fun trip. And yeah, your buck goes further in other countries. And it's just a fact of life that the humans are clever and will find ways to take it, you know, leverage. I don't want to say take advantage, but you know, leverage opportunities. And what is bad for one can be good for another, and you know, there's winners and losers in every shakeup, and people figure it out. What's tricky, though, is when technology moves so fast that people don't really have time to adapt in a comfortable way. So it's just painful, but they're figuring it out. I am back, yeah. Husky. Husky, it's all your fault. It was all your fault. No. There won't be any, now that I know, it's easy to get popped. I won't be doing any, nude figure drawing, showcasing, or anything like that on stream. I tried to learn and you got learned. Do you use Discord? It's not the world's craziest Discord or anything like that, but I have one that that I can Oh, you're in my server. Oh, sorry. I spazzed out. I didn't mean to or spaced out, I should say, but it's been a long week. All right. It did occur to me, though, that I could do... I mean, listen, again, we were talking about shakeups and how some things are good, or it's like things are not necessarily always obviously good or bad. You know, the... it's tricky to... I talk about this too much, but when my daughter got sick, I had to make changes in my business and how I conducted a lot of different things. It changed everything, and you think, okay, well, your kid is like, fight for their life, and it's a bad thing. Of course it is, except a lot of good stuff came out of that. So you really, sometimes hard stuff happens. You figure out new opportunities. So the, when my daughter got sick, that's when I made a real push and started advocating for myself and joined the Art Directors Guild, the union, and in the end, like, it really that helped save my family a lot of healthcare millions in healthcare expenses. So we were able to not be financially destitute by something that would be normal and expected in unfortunately in America, for that sort of thing to happen, basically, because it took away one of our incomes. My wife specifically, she had to take care of baby, and I had to provide, and I was always providing by half, but I had to provide for both. Anyway, I figured out that there was more to the situation than just bad stuff, that I could, if I didn't just sit around feeling pitiful, there were ways to turn this into a good thing, and I managed to do as well a good job at that as I could. And so likewise now, when I got the suspension, I was like, well, that's a bummer, but I learned a lot. I learned that Twitch somehow has some sort of auto viewbot mod that detects boobies and nipples, and if it sees them for more than 3 seconds, I guess it probably summons a real person, and that real person, if they're sensitive enough, will not understand the nuance of what a life drawing is versus actual sexual content, and then I'll get popped. So now I know better. That's good to know. And then that helped me to sort of figure out, okay, well, let's see if I can stream on Google or YouTube or whatever. Because I had problems with that earlier on a different system, but this time it worked, and I did a good stream and all that, and I was like, you know what? This is a viable option too if I needed to. So now we have that. Excellent. A union is absolutely necessary. Well, I'll talk to you about that in a second. I have a friend who streams and he draws boobies every so often, but no nips. So, but they're not super realistic. I think the realism popped you. Yeah, I'm often we chatted about this. Yeah, I do get the AIs are like, these are definitely naked people that you're drawing. There's no ambiguity about like, oh, it's like cartoony, or I can't tell what that is. Is it a person or is it a blob, So I'm too good. No, Well, speaking of the union stuff, what is a problem is my union. My union is part of IATSE, which is a big international, quote unquote international, but it's basically just an American, a specifically North American union that represents workers in theater and film production and stagecraft. So basically the people who do what I do, storyboards, are ultimately in the same umbrella union as people who lay electrical cables at sporting events sometimes, or concerts. The big union. Now, concerts aren't really necessarily suffering. I don't really know much about that, but theater productions. So like plays. But the problem is, so when overseas productions happen, the work for so like the Substance, for instance, takes place in Los Angeles but wasn't shot in Los Angeles. Now that happens all the time. It isn't so much that like any one thing is the problem. Lots of things are shot all over the place. You need to go where those locations are. Probably all my favorite films were not shot necessarily, on set or whatever. When they filmed The Godfather, they're probably shooting that in LA, on a backlot. I'm not sure where they shot it, but Movie Magic does the lifting, but ultimately the people who haul cameras and drive trucks in Los Angeles that work in film, if since literally like, I don't know, 75 to 80% of production is now overseas. It's not even like not in LA. Like it used to be we were worried about it going to like Georgia or Louisiana of all places. I'm like, don't those places have weather? But now they're going literally to South Africa is like a popular place to shoot now. And I was like, South Africa? Like, that just seems like a really far away place to be. To me, that's it wasn't on my radar as like as a shooting hotspot, but it is now. It's for an American cheese company, and they're shooting it in South Africa. Now that was a union spot, so it's like, I don't know what I'm complaining about necessarily, but there's options out there for companies to bypass union labor entirely, at least as union labor in the States. And my union work has been so dry for the past year. Now, it's like I get booked on jobs, but they aren't union jobs, and they don't have to be union jobs because the companies that are hiring me to do storyboards, they don't actually do any physical shooting. So it's like, if you don't need physical cameramen to hire to like man physical cameras, and you don't need grips to lay down tracks for these cameras, and you don't need trucks to transport these cameras, and you don't need a set. Everything's done in a computer digitally. Like the people are CG, the backgrounds are CG. All you need is storyboards and then a bunch of animators, and the animators aren't unionized either because they're VFX. Because everybody was super slow about unionizing that stuff, and they missed the boat basically. So it's just really tricky because the union work that goes away, it pretty much never comes back. That's the problem. Husky says it's just kind of ridiculous because before someone was doing a study of the Statue of David and got in trouble. Absolutely, it's these are prudish, sexist injustices. Brian says it's definitely a problem. My place here has no union protection, and the working conditions did basically squeeze me out of my original vocation. I think unions are important, but my problem with IATSE is that it is an over 100-year-old, it's like a 125-year-old organization that moves like a dinosaur. Meanwhile, you know, and it's like, it's got so many rules that, you know, I don't want to, some things do need to be streamlined in order to be competitive in the markets that we like. It's just sort of like it runs on vibes now. And the case of, you know, I just don't feel like we can expect the same kind of fair play that we like 100 years ago. It was not possible to send an image across the globe, you know, and with any sort of fidelity or speed. Now it is, and it's such a trivial matter that it's basically done for free. And, you know, when what I do is basically drawing data, it's ones and zeros, it can be done anywhere. Now, what's my play there? Should I leave Los Angeles and go to, you know, let's say I go to Mexico. I just move to a cheaper place to do things. That's good for me, but I don't know if that's good for everything. And I'm not a person who moved to Los Angeles to chase a dream. I was born here, and frankly, I want to stay here as long as I can. So and my family's here. I have my parents and my brother, and we have a good life. I want to keep it up if I can. I don't want to just sort of feel like I'm being squeezed out. I won't ignore the reality if I am getting squeezed out, but what I want to do is shore up the if I can, I want to hedge my bets a little bit by not depending specifically on my union or my storyboarding work to sustain me long term, because I have my doubts now. That's really it. Okay, here's the forest. There's some things that, like my union, it's really hard to get straight answers from people. It seems like there's just 1,000 rules with 1 trillion exceptions. You can't hire a union storyboard artist without sort of like jumping through all these hoops and signing all these contracts and stuff like that. And it's a very... Basically, you can't do it without suffering some pain in the process, which, again, these are just sort of like, these are factors that the union doesn't acknowledge are bad for business. We live in a world where, for better or for worse, people have options to hire almost anyone they want. And, you know, without having to having to feel like they have to like sign up for all these crazy legal agreements or whatever. I want hiring, you know, like a union storyboard artist to be as simple as calling an Uber. And I mean, that would be awesome if it was possible. It's probably not. Probably if there was some sort of tech bro solutionist sort of outfit coming in and trying to solve this problem, it would just make things worse. But in my opinion, it's harder than it needs to be, and it's hurting opportunities. But it's tricky. It's hard for me to say like this is the thing that is causing all the problems. It's like what do I know? You know. what has been sustaining me and like paying my bills is for the past year is not union work, and I'm not the only one. A lot of people are just like, yo, I got nothing. Where the work at, you know? And there isn't any. There's too many exceptions in all the rules. Like they have rules like, oh, you have to hire a union storyboard artist if you're a union signatory, unless one isn't available where you are. And if one isn't available where they are, then they can hire whoever, or they could subcontract it out. So what happens a lot is there will be a union movie shoot, but then they hire a post-production company to do all the special effects. Now, the post-production company isn't a union outfit, and it will hire the storyboard artists that it needs for its shots, which are basically anything with special effects. And it makes sense that they will need storyboard artists to help work on those special effect shots. But they don't, like, that's not a union job. Even though, like, the movie was shot by, like, a union crew, in some cases, like, this is what would happen. But if the special effects are done in a place that doesn't use union storyboard artists, then it's, again, this is sort of like, and meanwhile, a lot of the special effects companies, and these companies are my clients, they don't need to use union storyboard artists. They want to use me because they know I'm good, but they don't need to use me. You know, they could hire other people if they had to, and they often do have to because I'm not available for everything. It is unfortunate, but our current landscape is poisoned towards a Darwinian survival of the fittest for artistic pursuits, and as much as I hate the adapt or die attitude, it's the most reliable method. While it is the, I'm not a... I'll ally myself with AI bros that seem to... Well, that's the sort of meme, isn't it? That they say adapt or die artists or whatever. But that's the part of this is me, adapting, the realizing that AI is a real and potential threat to my livelihood, but not just my livelihood. It's everyone's livelihoods. Like if outsourcing to one country is one thing. If AI can just make a movie, which is what they wanted to try and make it do eventually, if it can do that, then it doesn't matter where you are as an artist. Your job isn't... So, like, if I do move to Mexico, but then AI ends up taking over the entire storyboarding universe anyway, then I'm not really much safer there with my career. My dollar might go farther, so that would be good. But it wouldn't be as good for other things. And then if the work all went away anyway, and it's like, it's not that the work all just has to go away in order, like the work doesn't have to go away in order for me to get rocked by the change. The work has to fall below a certain threshold in which it makes sense, in which it doesn't make enough sense for me to keep doing it. And I should, like, the way I'm saying this sounds so gloom and doom, which is ridiculous because like I was saying, I had a busy week last week and this week was good. It's not like work isn't there. It's just I don't feel like it's dependable long term the way I need it to be for the sake of my loved ones. I need to make sure I don't do nothing, right? You adapt, right? Maybe it's more of like that's the stimulus, so here's my response. As always, steady, sustainable growth needs to happen, yeah. Here I am forgetting to save. Let's make sure we do that real quick. Okay, interesting. The call that was going to determine whether or not I get booked today was pushed to tomorrow. So this may be a good stream day. We'll see. Yeah, no worries. See you later, Odoo. Sorry, brain. Yeah, I'll have a good day. You too. All right, let's see here. Fill in this fun little wolf. The call from my client getting pushed to tomorrow won't be the final word on whether or not I get booked on something today, though. My agent will just take that info and take it as license to submit me for any other job that pops up. So, and it's interesting. That's like the work is impossible. It's impossible to predict any one day whether or not that day will be needed for work. It's very chaotic, I'd say. So when you look at it from a certain angle, like you can back up the camera and look at it from far away and see that over time things tend to be consistently busy, for me at least, but extremely difficult to predict the outcome of any specific day in advance. There's a cool visual echo here. Here, this is like a cliff that the wolf is howling on, but even the cliff itself, I'm gonna sort of sculpt it and shade it so that we can kind of see the outline of the wolf here. Like a little bit of pareidolia. Like the profile of the wolf here is echoed here on the structure, calling it the wolf crest, but just a little bit of visual reinforcement to lend some interest. I'm very keen on making sure I have clear silhouettes where I want them. And so taking the time to make these fills looking solid is time well spent. And then once they're filled, I can sort of lock off the pixels so that they, I don't have to worry about adding or losing any fidelity in that edge. So I'll lock pixel, and that way, like if I lock the pixels, and then I start coloring into them, lock the pixels and then start coloring into them, I can be messy with color, but not have to worry about the silhouette. So that I don't have to make those kinds of design decisions at the same time I'm making color decisions. Ultimately, reducing the amount of unintentional mistake making. I think it saves time. If it doesn't save time, it at least encourages some interesting experimenting and looseness. I don't feel like I have to be timid with color decisions or changes that I make. This is kind of a boring part of the process, but it can be meditative too, and it's super important. This is the last stop before we start coloring everything, and once we start doing that, very exciting part. Yeah. And this is sort of a unlike the Moblin piece. And so my plan is if today is not busy, I'll work on this until I get the fills in, and then maybe fill the flats in with some flat color. And then I'll pick up my kids, and then I'll go to my parents' house. And at my parents' house, I'll switch over to working on that Moblin piece, because that is with all the like hundreds of Moblin guys pouring in, because that's a cool piece, and it's interesting. While the finished pieces don't seem to do as well as the sketches, every once in a while on Tumblr, someone will dig up the which piece is it? Oh yeah, the one on Death Mountain with the tektites and the lava and stuff. People keep reblogging that, and it's not like it's like really popping off or anything like that. But it also isn't like refuses to sort of die, where I sort of was like, okay, well, no one really cares about these. People do care about them, but like they don't. People don't get like excited to share them in mass numbers, but they have their audience, and I definitely that's one piece when I look at it, I'm like, this one's still cool. Yeah, that sometimes happens. A random old reblog, yeah. But I'm like, these are the real ones. I mean, everyone's the real one, but I think it's interesting because these are interesting metrics that I can sort of weigh in my head. It's like nothing formal, but the propensity for different pieces to have different reactions among different people, right? And it's like they'll overlap in some ways, but there's huge disparities. And then from platform to platform. There's that the guy who created Patreon has a what's his saying? Was it a TED Talk or something like that? But he was like, you know, all you really need is like 1,000. All like a small creator really needs is like 1,000 true fans. And it's like, well, what does that mean or whatever? But like, if you have an audience wherever it comes from that can lend small portions of support, you know, at that scale. So like if I had like, you know, right now I've got like 400 followers on Instagram, and I remember when I had 4. So it's so for me, like I'm like, and I know that at least most of those are like real people. But you know, you would have to like, it needs to be closer to like 100,000, because what like a true fan would be like a subset of a subset, right? Someone like really like excited to be, you know, part of a Patreon, and it's like things need to be at like a certain, there's like an inflection point where that becomes a reality, but we're a long way from that right now. I don't think it's necessarily like a skill issue. It's maybe a skill issue with my social media stuff, but I don't really want to be. I don't want to like debase myself and do a bunch of gamification on my work. Not any more than I'm already doing, at least. So just gotta stay the course, I think, for a bit. I'll try new small things, but nothing crazy. I'm not in a place where, like, if work doesn't just up and die on me, and I can pay my bills doing that, and then do this on the side, then I can just do that forever. I don't need this to change my life. I just, you know, right now it's about my mental health, and sort of trying to plant a seed that over time could grow into something. You should do well with consistency. I think that's what I'm trying to do. And I wonder if it's like, so what role the consistency of time is a factor compared to everything else. It is interesting to me that the greater contributors to, like, I think, so it's interesting, like the introduction to Tumblr and like having a bunch of pieces that I was able to sort of post all at once and feel like I feel like I got a good welcome introduction into Tumblr, and then quickly after that I did a couple smaller sketchy style pieces like The Escape with the lantern and Lincoln Zelda and stuff, and then this piece, Night Walk, and then Pura. Now Pura didn't hit off the way I hoped it would, but that's okay. And you know, maybe that'll be a sleeper hit or something, but it's all good to know, good knowledge. But the battle sketch of Riju like did really well, and that, you know, that wasn't necessarily expected by me. But it's got like 1,000 notes on Tumblr right now. And this piece, The Night Walk, is just the rough sketch of it. done amazingly well. But that's the question, is like, if it takes 10 times, I don't know, 50 times longer to make a finished piece than to bang out a sketch and get a better result from the sketch, then it's hard to push too much for the necessity of doing the sketches, or sorry, the finished pieces. I'll get to a place where I feel like I have enough Zelda portfolio pieces where I can be more experimental. And I think once I get the Moblin piece done, because then I'm going to have at least 12 of the widescreen stuff that I can put in a portfolio, and then just see where that gets me. If I can get Hollywood's attention with it, and if not, then no biggie. Just keep doing what I'm doing. But I may at that point choose to get a little bit more experimental. I've been seeing, because I guess like there was and I guess this is true, is that the original Zelda concept was it was sort of like a time travel concept, where like Link, like the Triforce was a kind of like computer chip thing, and you were getting chips that you would assemble or something like that to go back to the... It's not necessarily Back to the Future, but there was something about it where it was more... there was a techie subplot to the Zelda plot, and people are discovering this now and having a fun time sort of reimagining Link and Zelda as like a cyberpunk stuff. And I feel like, ooh, I've got an idea for a sketch like that. I could design them as like cyberpunk characters. So stuff that isn't even remotely canon. Just to try some new things. Get some variety. I still have to work on that D&D commission. It is kind of a back burner project, but I don't want to lose like all steam with it. I haven't worked on it in a few weeks. I have an idea for it though, so that is good. And it's good not to rush into things anyway, so I'm not regretting taking my time with it. It's been a while. I still got to get back to my Friarwind piece that I've forgotten all about. You might redo the wings. Okay. I remember you were showing me that. I thought it looked good. Wings are super tricky, especially the underside of wings. Something about them, it's like we see all the complexity. Well, like we know that wings are made of thousands of different feathers that all have these different... It's maybe like think of it like, you know, if you think about it as like a trillion small different parts, it's probably too much, but yeah, it was looking pretty cool, but I think I was emphasizing too much. Maybe start doing a less is more. Yeah. I think you're on the right track with that. We'll see. We'll see. We will see. Yeah. This is such a weird thing on her head here. It's like, what is it? Anyway. Like, ostensibly it's some sort of crown, but having done sketches of it, rendered it with line, and now I'm gonna have to color the thing, I still... Oh! Okay, we didn't lose too much, but man, we don't like crashing. All right, we're not set too far back. We're not set too far back. Riju was doing pretty good too. I saw that. I didn't see you draw it on stream though. I drew that on so this is recently uploaded to... I drew that on the YouTube stream when I got popped. I tried out drawing on the YouTube stream, and like literally like one person looked and then saw it. Pat, who sometimes pops into stream. He's a British storyboard artist, very talented guy. Here we have a link. No one has seen this. You can be the first. Let's see here. Twitch. Yeah, there's me. Here we go. Yeah, there's me. There we go. So that's the link to the Riju, and I edited it so that it's just basically jumping straight in, and it's nothing to be like, because literally no one's watching, and I'm really just talking to myself the whole time. It's not necessarily an exciting stream. And for some reason, I guess I recorded it at like a lower resolution, but it is a, yeah. What you can do is you can, you can see the because I do talk about the inspiration of the piece. Like, there was pre-existing Riju artwork of her holding that weapon, but it was from a different angle, and it looked like it was under-concepted, and I was like, I can improve this. Not like I'm like, ooh, this art needs fixing. It's not like that, but it was I was like, by means of demonstration, I can take this one piece of source material and crank it to 11 and, you know, make it different and cooler, and maybe not even have to have it take all day. And it worked out. It worked out really well, and I'm pleased about how people are receiving it. But that's a cool piece because it was all done in one go, and they don't happen often enough like that. They're all usually belabored like this one, but I may try to do more of that type of thing where I'm like, okay, we've got 2 hours, let's make a killer sketch. Step 1, you know, da-da-da, you know. In the original art piece, there is something was bothering me about it. And I was realizing that, from what I could tell, it looked like the sword was facing the wrong way. Given the angle of the rest of her body, it just felt like that was not the way to do it. So I corrected that in my piece, and I think it speaks for itself. I had the solution. That would have been a great... I mean, I guess it could be converted to a speed paint in some ways, but it is... because Painter doesn't do... it doesn't really do video capture the way that Procreate or other... the way that the other programs do. It tries to have a feature like that, but it's so buggy that it just crashes. It's super disappointing that it doesn't work. Because there's a lot of cool potential for that type of stuff. If I want to do like speed paints, I guess I can take the time to figure out how to do that on my iPad. But I don't prefer to draw in Procreate, so... Okay, now we're caught up to where we were. It definitely made sense to draw the headdress on a separate layer than the than the skin, because that'll need a lot of detail. Midna! Hey, Avail. I'm going to start filling in her face. I like the idea of having her head sort of on a layer, and then her arm, and then the hair in the back. Sometimes you need those things. It's not that you need, but like if it's helpful for me to keep things separate that I want to keep separate. So far, the stream integrity is doing pretty good. No dropped frames or anything. That never happens. Hey Siri, set a timer for 2 hours.
2 hours, counting down.
All right, we'll see if we can get that far. In 2 hours, I gotta pick up my kids from school. Actually, hey Siri, set a timer for 1.5 hours. I forgot that one kid gets out earlier than the other. Fan favorite Midna.
It's done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
For some reason, her hood has this opening, and you can see her hair inside. So we'll put this here. Crazy goth girl lashes. Might switch up the music in a minute. Anyway, if I do the, because it's not just the mini trend that I see of people doing like the cyberpunk Zelda stuff, but that hasn't really kicked off. But there's a ton of like vaporwave, like cyberpunk Zelda music out there, which is kind of cool. I don't think it's an aesthetic fit though for the stuff I've been drawing. So I kind of want to work on a piece that will complement that, so I can listen to the music. Yeah, don't worry about it, Hector. This is this may be a long stream, and we've all got things to do. I'm going to switch this up, though. I don't need to have endless. The vaporwave Zelda aesthetic is pretty cool. I mean, we can get away with some of that maybe right now. Wonder if I can find it on Legend of Zelda Vapor. Legend of Synthwave. Yeah, this is it. I think. Let's try it. Let's try it out. This is also by Game Chops and Hellant, which is very cool. Oh, that's cool. I dig that. We have to audit the new music, and if it's going to be audited, it can be during a fill stream where we're filling in stuff, because if somehow this got muted and whatever, then, you know, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, this is pretty cool. It'll be interesting to make decisions about how we light this scene. It'll be like Minda here is sort of like a sort of superimposed graphically in the scene, just sort of there in his imagination. What does that mean for lighting and color? So that is to say, if it's real to the scene, then it will be absurd because she'll look like she's gigantic or something like that, and that's not really what we want. I'm not saying I know what I will do, but I will figure it out. And this is interesting too, like I've made this aesthetic choice to, and I think it's the right one, to sort of have these lines that, the lines that define her form are trailing off at the edges. As if the wind was dust in the wind, right? Beyond grasp. This track won't be my favorite. I didn't love the original. Like, it is a catchy tune, but it's catchy in a way that, like, kind of gets stuck in your head too much and it gets annoying. This should be cool. Hell yeah. Yeah, imagine cyberpunk Midna. Boy, that would do some numbers. Yeah. Let's keep saving. If anybody out there is working on something, save your work. This piece will be awesome. Mm. And some of these lines in the back here, I don't know if they're hair or if it's... It's a clip track. They could be part of her hair, they could be part of her towel, some sort of hood, cape thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry, just looking at some text messages. Okay, let's fill in the background. That'll just be one big fill for now. I do intend to introduce, like, maybe some clouds, especially to break up the point of this mountain. And wherever the composition needs it, we'll use them to achieve what we need. But the clouds themselves, I feel like I can get away with painting those in. I don't need lines for them. They'll be very minimal. Switch to standing. No one will mind if I crunch a granola bar, hopefully. Cool. So we'll save this. And now, something completely different. We need to check our work. And the way we do that is we fill with dark on light. Let's turn off some of these other lines. Okay, so these are all the leaves. So if we fill them in now, if we lock the pixels and fill them now with dark, first glance they look pretty good. But some of this edging is not great. Every place I missed is lighting up like a Christmas tree. And if possible, I want solid things to appear like they don't have pinprick holes in them. I might be able to get away with just, yeah, this is doing good. By just doubling and quadrupling the layer on top of themselves. That seems to have solved most of that problem. And now what remains are just small outliers. So it's like touch-ups. I don't know what track this is. This is why I kind of refer to this stage as like the boring part. For me, it's like a nice time to just chill out and listen to music. For the sake of completeness of the process, I am trying to not exclude it from the streaming. Since it's not a particularly difficult thing to do, it's easy to then rant about other stuff or let my mind wander into unrelated topics of which I have opinions, but it can also just be quiet. Why am I being called? Wild stroke there. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is a tricky thing that makes sense to figure out right now. We've got Link is behind this castle wall, but his hand is on, both of his hands are on top of it. So let's make a separate series of layers for his hands and the corresponding fill. I think that's the best way to deal with that challenge. Okay, so now the layer stack will go link hand lines, balcony lines, then link lines. When we get done with this one, I'm gonna find the other Legend of synth waves, yeah. Or is it like Hero of Synth? I was just listening to it on YouTube, so I hope if it's not available. Well, it's available there, but I don't know if it'll be available on Spotify, and if it isn't, that's okay. Hero of Synth. Pause that. We'll get to it. By Chillboy Beats. Interesting. Hopefully this isn't an AI artist. Well, they use AI in their album art, but looks like we can put this on deck, though. Okay. So yeah, on the balcony fill, there's all these little gaps. But if we just double, triple, quadruple it up, they kind of disappear. Or are much less lessened. They're not lighting up like Christmas trees the same way. And now, where I do find those errors, I can fill them in. Looking for any glaring white spots, of which I'm happy to see there are only a few. Okay, now, same thing now for Link. And Link, since it's behind both the balcony and the hand, we can have that fill for the back of his hand here. Kind of the same deal over here. Sort of backfilled. Fill any gaps. Okay. Not a lot of egregious mistakes here. Fill all that up. Sounds like dry docks. Dire docks. Okay. Let's try this one. Here with Synth 2 was pretty good. Let's try it here. So I know I like that. Yeah, this was cool. There we go, feeling very solid. Okay, good. And this crest I sort of just came up with on the fly, so it may not correspond to anything canon. Okay, nothing crazy, but we've got some issues. That helped to ameliorate. don't want any holes, but I don't want necessarily jagged edges of pixels causing issues too. That kind of information can stand out in a composition. I don't mind it aesthetically as long as it's in balance, but for stuff that's happening in the background, I don't know. But this doesn't have to be the final word on those edges either. We can touch them up later. Hey, this track is cool. One thing I'm a little unsure of are these banners on these castles, these little flags. I don't know if I love them. I don't mind humoring them for a little bit, but they show the wind, but I'm not sure they're doing it the right way. Like, this is like, oh, it's a beautiful sort of thing, but that's not the right vibe. I think it's something a little bit more primal. I want something, I don't want it to look refined. Something that, if I can, I want there to be an element of tension, not relaxation and going with the flow, if that makes sense. I haven't quite decided what to do, but I may redraw the trail of the flags, essentially making them I don't want them to look like there's something being celebrated. There's that. What was it in the this is interesting. In the two towers, the flag ripping off the pole. Yeah. Oh, interesting. In the two towers, the flag ripping off the pole in Edoras was unintentional, but it was left in the film because it conveyed the emotion of the scene well. Yeah. I need something like that. Like one of the, like one of these things goes flying, you know? Cool idea. Okay, that's looking solid. Next area, these forests. This one, interestingly enough, because of the nature, yeah, I was thinking it could be this one, the one that's close to Link. It could just feel like it ripped off and is like overlapping a little bit. Do you know what I'm talking about? That scene in Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers? I think it's not a, I can pull this away. It's like the fucking flag of the city gets ripped off a pole and goes flying, you know? It's like distressing. You know? Doesn't necessarily show that the was that in the extended edition? I don't know. I wonder if I can find that clip. This is like 4 minutes long. Let's see if I can just find that clip. Yeah, we don't need to see all that worm tongue stuff. So it's like here. So see how the flag it's just not a happy flag, you know? Whee! And apparently it was an accident, but what an accident, you know? How fucking amazing. You know? That's the kind of stuff that writers don't come up with. But like an artist, or you know, in this case, the wind was the director. But there was, you know, you got to look for that kind of stuff. And it's interesting because it wasn't so much that I was, even when I drew the goodbye flag, not a happy flag. Yeah, things are maybe not all. You know, there's the other flags are attached, but there's just one flag that is getting away. There's one flag has something else on its mind, huh? There's something about that is thematically appropriate, I think, to the scene. So I feel like if the piece is rendered well, people will be inspired to look at the details and they'll see stuff like that. People might have a make the connection. And if they don't, they don't. But if they do, then good stuff. Shoot. Yeah, I like this. Like this album. Yeah, sometimes comments will point out certain details and they'll get more attention. Yeah. OMG, I just noticed that flag detail. And then it's like tears emoji, tears emoji, tears emoji. How did I just now see that? Or why am I just now seeing that? You know, stuff like that. All good things. I don't mean to tease anybody for being a fan. I like that, for the by and large, that's really been the reception to my work. So, and that's what I want now. So I want that kind of stuff. I don't want the hey Max, are you available? We got this really annoying client that they just keep making small changes. Can you just take this one ball but make it a square? And can you do that to all 700 of these drawings? You know, it's like, come on, man. Not that I don't mind making money, but I want to make money drawing cool stuff. Damn, we're getting there. How did I not notice that one square? Ah! I know, right? SRSRLY. You need your clients leaving comments like on Reddit. Yeah. Reddit has been it's remains unpredictable. The code is tough to crack. I mean, my stuff will get noticed. I'll get like a lot of good upvotes, but like I think like 5% of Reddit hates my stuff because they'll see it and they'll just like automatically downvote it. Like they're like, fuck this guy. Haters. And if they hate me because they hate me, like because I'm so good, you know, or something like that, that's one thing. But they're like, fuck that guy. But if they actually have like negative feedback, I'd be curious to hear it. Too bad I'll probably never get to the bottom of it, but like, I don't know. If they're hard to please, then I don't mind a challenge and I'd like to try. But if they're impossible to please, then they can go fuck themselves. That's generally my thought. Like, I like working on the hard stuff. Or the stuff where it's like, we don't know anybody who could do this. And I'm like, But if no matter what I do, it's just going to be not well received by a certain portion of the population, then, you know, I won't lose sleep over it. I wasn't going to lose sleep over it anyway, but negative feedback can be, if you can process it, when it has merit and it can be processed without taking it personally, it can be a great source of ideas for improvement. And if I'm not doing something that is obvious that I should be doing, I do want to know. The hardest part so far with posting on Reddit is that if it doesn't kick off immediately, it just gets buried, and then, you know, very few people will see it relative to the potential. So, like, the Nightwalk rough sketch, which did amazingly, it was like my best performing piece on Tumblr, only got like, whatever, 300 upvotes on Reddit. But the Pura sketch did really well. Did I post the Reju sketch on Reddit? I'm trying to just sort of like not make too many predictions now and just posting things no matter what, and just seeing what I can learn. But yeah, I did. Okay, Reju I posted 5 days ago. It got near 450 upvotes. 99% upvote rate. So that's nice to see. That had a decent showing and then a resurgence at some point, which is sort of interesting. I don't know if I can predict that. Yeah. And then my Pura sketch, yeah, got 1.8 thousand upvotes, but a 95% upvote rate. So let's do some math. 1,800 times 0.05. 90 people voted down my Pura sketch. And on the Reddit sub, 90 people. How? 5% haters, yes. I've never had like anything worse than a 95, for what that's worth. Could it be that simply, you know, usually it's between 5 and 100. So if I can work on getting like that last, it's like the 5th hater I don't care about. They're just gonna hate everything. But the first 3 haters, there's some wiggle room there. I can turn them, and then that 4th hater, you know, it's like, what are they? Some super critic? I want to know what's going on in their head. And then the last guy is just like the worst. And you know, maybe there's some margin of error. The upvotes and the downvote button are right next to each other. Yeah, they must have missed the upvote button on accident. I've done that before. Or like they see it and they no, that wouldn't happen. Like if you wanted to upvote it and then you didn't know if you did, so you try to upvote it again, and it actually takes away the upvote, but it doesn't count as a downvote. Could be bots too. No, because there's other stuff that I post that gets like 100%. Yeah. Like the Nightwalk sketch that I posted on Reddit didn't pop off, but had a good reception of 99% upvoted. And a lot of people were complimentary to it. People also liked the escape, but that had 2% haters as well. So, did I get anything that's 100%? Okay, so the Manhandla, this one got a 500 and 100% upvote rate. So I was pleased about that. You know, but for the effort and time it took to craft that piece, I want to get like 5,000 upvotes. So, but it's interesting too, because I have some followers on Reddit. That probably has more to do with me posting the figure drawings, as well as the Zelda stuff. Yeah, I was pleased about that. I was also thinking about posting, because I've got a lot of like real life sketches. Like pen and ink or charcoal sketches. And the sketches Reddit subreddit is like 6 million members strong. It's like, fuck, that's a lot of fucking members. There's 3 million Zelda people in the Zelda subreddit, and 6 million in the sketches subreddit. And I'm trying to, what I'd like to do is find and cultivate audiences on different platforms, and then find a way to efficiently as possible consolidate my offerings that can sort of appeal to the widest margin of them, as well as sort of like collect them, not collect them, but in like, if I could find a way to make their interest in my work beyond those platforms. So, you know, something Patreon is the most obvious like example that leaps to mind, but you know, that's not set up. I don't plan to do that for a while, but the, you know, if they're a follower on one platform does not, they won't just necessarily jump to the other. Like, there have been like, I think like 2 people on Reddit who have bothered to go and try and actually look this stream up, and probably the same thing on YouTube as well. So it's like a subset of a subset, and then ultimately a subset of that will be willing to follow me wherever I go, and all that. So it's like 1 in 100 of 1 in 100 of 1 in 100. What is that? What's 100 times 100 times 100? This is gonna be bad. What's 100 times 100 times 100? 1 million. I need 1 million. I need 1 million followers. That'll be great. It's too easy. 1 million followers. Oh, I'm just joking. To get like that, the Patreon magic number is like, they talk about like 1,000 true fans. Welcome back, Avail. But like if you have like that was the TED Talk. Like if you have 1,000 true followers, 1,000 true fans, I should say, you know, you can make it as an artist, doing your own content creation. That's just some back of the envelope math. I don't know if those numbers are actually true. It's just it's obviously something that is curated for a TED Talk, so it's distilled down to bullet points. It is a bit of a pipe dream. It is a bit of a pipe dream. Well, I don't need 1,000 true followers or anything like that, but the ultimately, I think if before too long I could find some sort of sweet spot where the fun fan art that I'm doing, that I enjoy doing, is able to entice a few individuals who want commissions, you know, people with money in their pocket. So it's like a follower, like an artist follower of mine isn't necessarily going to be a commissioner. Like that would be unlikely, right? So like again, it's just sort of like different audiences, want different things. Are you saying that out of 1 million, only 1,000 are true fans? I was just sort of I was doing some bad. So that is what I said. Although that feels like that's bad math. It's probably closer to like if I had 50,000 followers or something like that. Like that's just not like unachievable. It's a lot, and I don't have anything close to that. But that would be 500 times more than I have right now. Something like that, yeah. But, and I'm not even talking Twitch. I've like drastically low numbers on Twitch, but that's fine. But the if it was really more like a subset of a subset of a subset of the total population of followers could be considered like true fans. And I guess like what's your definition of like a true fan? I mean, like there are people that go to as many Bare Naked Ladies concerts, and that I mean the band, not Bare Naked Ladies, but the Bare Naked Ladies. They'll see as many of their shows as they possibly could or can, or like Grateful Dead fans, or just like those fandoms that are sort of like, really, you're into them like that, huh? You're a true fan, diehard fan, right? I feel like you have to fulfill some sort of need to make money from art, like pinups or something, or sponsors somehow. And that's sort of like an interesting thing you bring up, where I'm like, I'm not really... Money would be nice if it meant I didn't have to deal with a lot of the stuff I dislike about what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now isn't bad at all. Like in terms of like my storyboard work, that's I can deal with that for the rest of my life if I have to. When I watch YouTube videos and they're like, this one's sponsored by BetterHelp or other cringe or terrible entities, or and I get that like everybody's got to do what they got to do. I totally get that, but that would not constitute a goal. Like I work in advertising, and I want a Clip Studios sponsorship. I would actually consider, like, if I really, like, if Wacom was like, hey, you use our products, do an unboxing video or something like that. I wouldn't say no, but I wouldn't also just be like, Wacom, the leader in technology. And, I'd be like, okay, well, this has these strengths and these weaknesses, and make your own choice. I don't want to be I say it now. In 10 streams, I'll have like the Coca-Cola logo on my hat, and like the Fox logo, and like this will be like Mickey Mouse, and this will be the Sellout arc. I should just jump into this. This will be Mickey Mouse, that'll be Donald Duck, and just like the Nintendo logo just takes up the entire wall. It's like that. Oh man, I know I'm old, but it's a chance that you guys might have seen this movie too. That Wayne's World movie, where they were like really obvious about the sponsorships, and so they're like, oh, all this this is all giving me a headache. And then Garth comes in, he's like, here, try Nuprin. It's new. And it's like, oh, yeah. It's like headache medicine or something. Really conspicuous stuff that you forgive him for it because it's a comedy. Have you seen Kung Power Under the Fist? Yes, although technically that was my brother's favorite film for many years. It wasn't. I'm familiar enough with it. However, I don't remember any product placement in it. My brother had that movie sponsorship bits. I love those. Interesting. It's a shame my brother's not in the chat. He'd probably have a lot to say about it. The Taco Bell scene made me realize that movies took sponsorships for the first time. Oh, that's funny. They definitely did that and played it well in that Demolition Man movie with Sylvester Stallone, where Taco Bell was the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars or something like that. But then they retconned it or something like that, where they changed it after the fact to Pizza Hut. But I had that movie on Laserdisc and I watched it like 1,000 times, and it was Taco Bell. I remember thinking that was awesome because I love Taco Bell. And I'm not a huge Pizza Hut fan. I don't mind Pizza Hut, but Taco Bell, that was like the food of the gods when I was a kid. All Yum brands, correct, yes. So for them, it was more sensible, especially for like an international audience, for instance, to opt for a different sponsor where it made sense. They had the authority to do so. The food of the future. Turns out, they were both winners of the franchise wars. We have another 25 minutes before I gotta call it a stream, but we are making good progress, so we're gonna put some color on this today. We might not get to all of it, but this is very exciting. Sexter says, I notice more often now when movies will have car sponsorships. Yes, because it'll randomly briefly long shot of a car on screen for any reason. Yes, that really bothered me in the Breaking Bad series, where like they had a whole episode dedicated to like not. Earlier in the season, they had a whole episode dedicated to like not making stupid purchases, so that they don't tip off the authorities to like, hey, why is this person rich all of a sudden? You know, where'd they get that giant asset? You know, so it's like, don't just spend, and that's like always been a thing in crime shows and crime movies. It's like, don't immediately go out and spend money on diamond necklaces for your girlfriend and stuff like that. They did that in Goodfellas, you know? But right after doing that, and like Walter White is like a smart guy, right? Like, you know, it was his rule and he knows how to follow it. Well, later in a different episode, like they both, like him and Jesse, go out and buy like matching twin Dodge Challengers for no purpose other than to like do like a thrill ride kind of like, and it was just like it was almost like it wasn't like 5 minutes, but it was like a 2-minute commercial where it was like, it was just car porn of these two like tearing around on, you know, some streets in their like racing each other in Dodge Challengers, and with like crazy, and it was just a commercial. It was just like a 2-minute commercial in the damn thing, and I hated that. I hate that shit. Not well done. I don't like. There's advertising. I don't mind like a little bit of like, hey guys, now it's time to do what I gotta do, so get ready, because this week's sponsor is granola bars, you know. They're crummy, but you love them, you know. Alright, enough of that, you know. A little bit of that is like, alright, at least you're sort of acknowledging that. I don't know, I don't like the, like, you know. I don't know. Speaking of streams, like, check out Bob's Plumbing Supply Company. It'll keep your pipes running smooth, you know. It's just like, what does that have to do with anything? I know they gotta pay the bills. They gotta pay the bills. But, like, it is funny because I watch a lot of YouTube and I just take it where the algorithm finds me. But, like, there will be some things where they'll be like, anti-capitalism, 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 and this week's sponsor is QuickBooks. You know, for your small business, you need blah blah blah, and it's sort of like, and it's like, okay, well, now I don't know what side of I don't know what to think of you, you know. And capitalism is like, I'm capitalist, but only in the way that it is, I think, a good, efficient way of getting other things done. Like, when it comes to like healthcare and shit, like, that needs to be free. That needs to just be everybody's right, you know. I don't, you know, we can all split hairs over like how much of something should be free. You know, do we all deserve, you know, filet mignon dinners? Probably not. But do we all need like basic staples of nourishment covered? You know, probably. That makes sense, right? We don't want people starving, right? Seems easy. This seems achievable. Honey, the plugin. Yeah, thoughts on the Honey fiasco. I remember installing Honey at one point many years ago and noticing that it didn't seem to save me any money at all. So I don't think I had it long on my computer, but yeah. Yeah, but like that and BetterHelp, which was, you know, it's like, oh, this is a great way for people to connect with whatever, but then there were all the controversies, and I don't know, I don't have any personal experience with it other than what was a ever-present, omnipresent sponsor for many YouTubers, went on to be a you know, much aligned source of what not to do in mental health and therapy opinions. All right, we have filled everything. We've filled it. Now we have to make some color choices, so this will be interesting. All right, for the last time, I'm going to go back and fill all these things with white where they need to be filled. Making color decisions. This is tricky stuff for me because with a lot of... It's like the question of like, well, what color is Link's skin? Like, what color is that exactly? Midna has like green skin. She'd be easier, I think, to figure out. Midna. True form Midna. What's this? Ideally, I'd find some official art. This looks pretty close. Like, it needs to be, needs to be like sort of cartoon color. Wow. That's weird. This is some sort of corrupted. It's interesting. Here we go. Looks like the right colors. Let's compare against a few sources. Thanks, Reddit. It's kind of fun. No AI. Let's see here. I think I can live with these colors. Okay, so if we bring it into Painter, we can use color selection. Let this person has done the hard work for me. Decided the colors. What color is this? Yeah, that's sort of a turquoise-ish. Like a very neutral turquoise. The hair color. There's lots of different variation in this. Let's go with something not too dark and not too bright. Oh, it's so saturated. That's okay. It's just a placeholder for now. Anyway, feels good that we got this far at least, adding color. It makes it more exciting to look at the process, I think. Make some quick progress. Let me just make sure that we're not on a completely weird playlist. Yeah, looks like we ran out on Hero of Synth. Let's try Hero of Synth 3. We got 10 minutes. So this is interesting. She has black eyebrows. So the hair on her head is not the hair on her eyebrows. Is that correct, or is that just something? Yeah. She canonically has orange hair and black eyebrows. That's an interesting combination. I feel like Tim Burton would approve. No, I don't like coloring with straight black, but I will make it dark brown or dark gray for now. This will look very intense. Very much that painted on with a stencil kind of look. Eyebrows look a little heavy. Can be done. Maybe if I try to soften the edges a bit. And it might be something we have to sort of pass through, like a difficult in-between stage that ends up looking good in the end. We'll see. Okay, she seems to have a very eyes are like the same color as her hair. That's interesting. Now that I put the black on the eyes, the eyebrows themselves don't look as crazy and out of place. Sort of an interesting thing to do, to draw or paint makeup on a drawing. That's kind of like what makeup is. It's like paint for your face, right? but I would learn a lot in a cosmetology course. Sort of these glowing eyes. Yeah, it's like yellow. The white of her eye is very yellow. So, there it is. Oh, and her eye is actually really red. Yeah, okay. It's a very red eye. Well, we all know me in red. I love the dungeon theme from the first one. And the pupils of the eyes, I am okay with going straight black with. It's sort of the focal point of the piece anyway. Now we need... Looks like her eyeshadow and lips are basically the same colors. I'll make the lower lip slightly brighter. Mm-hmm. 5 minutes, then I gotta be out the door. It's going to be interesting. She's such a colorful character, especially compared to the rest of the scene. Well, it's just going to be interesting to see how I solve the need to make her look a little bit incorporeal, like not. She needs to have the visual presence of a memory and not a physical object literally in the sky. At least I think. Should that makeup be there? Does that matter? Maybe a little? I wonder. Does it go like that? How does this drawing look? Yeah. Let's move forward with boldness. This stage. The colors we pick now aren't necessarily life sentences. We just need to get from black and white world to something not black and white world. It looks like they blur out at the edges, so you can get away with something like that and something like this, which looks nice. And then this will probably we don't need to necessarily have all these lines denoting that separation now. I like her having a little bit of a pout, but it doesn't need to be so pronounced.